So we're just going to go ahead and jump into our discussion for this evening. So I just wanted to start off because this particular film has been so impactful and intentional, and it really hit so many themes. And so I really kind of want to know, what was it like for both of you to work with each other on this particular film?
I have to. Well, I never. We didn't have much time to rehearse because it was a low budget film.
Not much.
No, so it's like, hi Cole, okay, let's rehearse for a couple days. And then with that, it's like, we have this very intimate shower scene, which happens on day 2. And everything was just very rushed. And I wish if we had more money, we'd have more time for rehearsal and for Lance Kinsey, who plays the father, and for you two to get to know each other. But thankfully, you're both such great actors that you just dove into it. And actually, somebody on set asked if they were a real father and son, which was a great compliment. But I think there's a stigma of working with actors with disabilities or people with disabilities that you have to handle them delicately. So, and it was a learning process for me too, as far as how far I could push Cole, how long can you work, and eventually, and Cole's father right here, Nick, schooled me. Nick, stand up, please. He was also.
Turn.
He was also the body double for the lifting shots. It's 'cause, your hair matched, and build was very similar. So, but Nick, he schooled me and he said Cole's a very strapping, strong young man, and just he could handle it, and just we weren't going to throw you down the stairs or anything like that, but it was nice to know that it's like, oh yeah, I have to treat Cole like any other actor on set, and it was a learning lesson for myself.
Well, thank you, Anthony, and let me start by saying, during the scene where Lance and I were in the bed, which, by the way, Lance did an amazing job playing my father. Yes, please. We had met, as Anthony said, 2 days earlier, and Anthony said, "Okay, do it." And right after we finished the first run through of the first scene, which of course was the scene where he teaches Billy to bag for the first time, Anthony cut the iPhone camera that he was filming with, turned to me and said, "Thank you for making my movie." So that is a moment that, as an actor with a disability, as an actor in general, I don't think I'll ever forget, because we do what we love, and we do what we love for a living. So thank you, Anthony.
Well, everything revolved around. The script called for a very specific Billy, and I didn't know if I would find that actor. So everything revolved around Billy, and if I wasn't going to find Billy, the film wouldn't move forward. So, thankfully, Cole, we found you, or you found us, and elevated the script. And so once we had Cole, then it's like, okay, now let's look for the father, and let's move forward with trying to make this film. But it all started with Cole.
Well, you're welcome. And I also want to say that one of the casting agents who cast me, that I auditioned with for another film, is here tonight. If you want to stand up, please. So yeah, this is an incredible film, really, and I wanted to make it. And my manager at the time said, "If you don't get this job, I will close my fucking agency." as a joke, of course. And I said, I'll do my best. So I went in for the audition with Russell Boast, our phenomenal casting director, who yes, sure. I could not be more proud of. And Anthony, thank you for giving me a chance, and thank you for allowing me to make this film. Truly.
Thank you.
Thank you both for sharing. And just hearing you both share, I can really see the connection that you have to this film and the personal one too. So I just want to explore your personal connection to this film. I know, Anthony, it really comes from, experience in your personal life, and engaging this on a daily basis growing up. And I know, Cole, this comes from a personal connection as well. So I want to start with Anthony. How did your personal experience really help you create the film that we saw today?
I had mentioned briefly about my mother and my sister, how they were just amazing parents and caregivers. But yeah, the story started with them. And it's funny, just before I came into this theater, I was thinking this film was probably 40 years in the making, because my brother Eddie finally passed away when he was 40, when I was 40. And so that story just sort of started to percolate from that moment on, about what if my brother were able to get a job bagging groceries, and he could never do that. He could never do that. The one thing that Eddie could do was, when my mom would put a spoon towards his mouth, he could open his mouth, and that's it. That was the extent of what my brother Eddie could do. He couldn't speak, couldn't. So yeah, it was just from watching that symbiotic relationship between those two. And I wanted to tell a story about caregivers, which nobody does. Nobody highlights caregivers. They're just heroes, right? And it is the elephant in the room that we're all going to pass at some point. And once we pass, who is going to take care of my child once we pass? So I did want to highlight that, but at the same time, it's got to be inspirational. I wanted to make an inspirational story. I didn't want to make it downer. So, and the story is, I feel it's inspirational. But some stories are not. Some people's lives are not. But yeah.
Well, my personal experience with this film mirrors that of Billy, really. I obviously grew up disabled, and we've had many experiences where I've been told, no, you're not good enough. Oh my God, fill in the blank. We actually had to go to Ramon Cortinas's office, the head of special education, because the school district I was in at the time refused access to my service dog, which is against federal law. And I said, Anthony, can we please put that in, or something like that? And that's when you showed me the scene where Oscar convinces Tom to give me a chance. And of course I had seen it before because I had read the script. But at that moment is when he really dove into it and showed me that scene. Now, when I got the script, when I got the role, Anthony very graciously developed the script. I should say, further developed the script around me. And I said, Anthony, I'm an actor first. I can do what you need me to do. I will play what you need me to play. And he said, no. I want to tell. I want you to infuse as much authenticity as humanly possible. So, in addition to being one of the lead actors in the film, I, by default, sort of became the film's technical advisor, which I'm very grateful for, and I hope that I was able to create an authentic and meaningful performance.
For sure.
Yeah. Yes, definitely. And one of the things that you mentioned, Cole, was really that point of advocacy, right? And mentioning how Oscar advocated for Billy in the film.
Yes.
One of the most empowering moments in the film for me was when the store clerk advocated for Billy as well.
Yes.
I was like, whoo, you tell him. So I would love to hear about specifically what are some ways you think that not just within the workspace, but just in general that we can continue to advocate for folks with disabilities?
Well, one of the ways is first by asking them what they need, okay, which I don't think many people do a lot of. And, you know, we will tell you, we know our own bodies and we know our own limitations. And if we say there's a limitation there, listen to us and don't, I want to be careful with how I say this, don't try and be the hero. Don't make us better, or don't tell us that our lives would be better if we just did this or just did that. I don't know. I'm assuming that many of you here are disabled. I don't know how many of you have experienced that, but I can assure you it's not too pretty. So that is a form of advocacy. And, you know, if there's a parent of a child with a disability, and you're probably already doing this, but fight for your child. Go into their schools. You as the advocate, have the right to be in your son or daughter's IEP and individualized education plan. And you as your son or daughter's advocate have the right to know how they're going to learn, or how they're going to adapt what they're learning in school to fit your child's needs. As far as in the workplace, one, hire us. Because, yeah, thank you. There aren't that many people with disabilities working in high-paying jobs. I'm talking doctors, lawyers, engineers. A lot of us live on Social Security, which in California, you're not allowed to make more than $2,000 a month, meaning you're not allowed to have more than $2,000 a month in your account at any one time. And here's the real kick: if you were married before you got on Social Security, you're not allowed to have more than $3,000 a month combined in your account. Which, let me tell you, in California, is not going to cut it. I doubt that it'll cut it in New York either, but yeah, and the other thing too is, if you are on disability and you marry your partner, they revoke your benefits. So yes, one, hire us, and two, once you do hire us, treat us like normal employees. Do not baby us. Anthony, one time I was your employee, right? Did you ever once treat me any different than any other actor you would treat on set?
I hope not. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I can tell you, I've been doing this, I've been acting most of my life, and I can assure you that he did not. In fact, he treated me better than a lot of directors treat most of their actors with disabilities. So I can say that we are getting better, but there is still a lot more to go. And if that answers your question.
Yep. And you go ahead.
Yeah. I kind of forgot what the question was. Oh, Tom. I just briefly, I do wish more people were like Tom, or that they were advocates for people with disabilities. They would stand up for people with disabilities. But I don't know. I hope that changes. I hope more people just hire people with disabilities. It's tough. It's rough. Even actors with disabilities. It's like, getting a role as an actor is tough, and then
yes,
yeah, and then throwing
and getting a good role as an actor with a disability.
Well, some of the complaints are the cost of, we have to have an ADA compliant toilet on set. We got to build a ramp. It's like, just do it. We did it. My wife over there, Lohi, paid for the film. Stand up, Lohi.
Please.
She paid for the entire film. And it's like, come on, if we have to get, we had no money. And it's like
no money, and you still managed to do it. So the fear of cost-benefit analysis is real. The studio does have an accounting department. Right. But here's the truth. The studios have the money. Yeah. The studios have the money. It's a matter of allocation, and it's a matter of will, and it's a matter of desire. So do you want to hire us or not?
Thank you. Thank you so much for this conversation. It was really insightful. We're actually going to move to questions from the audience. So if there's anyone who has questions, we would love to hear them.
Michelle and Nick, I wouldn't mind if you guys came up here too, because they're a part of the film, and it'd be nice to have you come up here too.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are my parents.
And Lo, if you can come up,
My head is featured prominently throughout.
we'll put our child down for a second and come on up here if you don't mind.
We have a question up here.
Yes?
Hello, thank you so much for your beautiful movie. I'm curious, what happened to your power chair?
So it's too hard to travel with, is what it is. It is my power chair that I own. And yes, it's just too hard to travel with. And quite frankly, it's hard to fit in our van. And
It's okay in the van. It's just very difficult.
well, yeah, if it's okay in the van, but it's difficult to travel on a plane with. And we're not from New York.
And thank heaven we didn't bring it, because our hotel has an accessible bathroom, but the rest of the room
Is tiny.
there's no way it could have turned around in there, and
It's maybe a third of the size of this. It's maybe a third of the size of this space here. So, yeah, it's really, really tiny.
We have another question over here.
This isn't exactly a question, but to me, it means that we're making a more compassionate, a more accepting society. And just recently in New York, they're now letting moms put their strollers on the bus. They don't have to fold them up. And, it's inconveniencing some of us, but I love it, because that's the way. And I think when we become a more compassionate society, the people that have issues will understand kindness. And as I love what George Saunders said, the only real response is kindness. Everything else is delusional. Yeah. So I just think this is a wonderful movie. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Speaking of kindness, New York has always had this edge, but every time we get on the subway, people have been getting up for us to have a seat. What happened
Very
in New
nice.
York? It's like people have turned nice.
Oh, you New Yorkers are just darling.
Yeah, it really has.
So I have a question. I actually have a son who has cerebral palsy, and your speech is wonderful. Is that like years of speech therapy?
I did have speech therapy when I was younger.
For like a minute.
For a little while. Until they realized that I could speak very much for myself. Now, in the movie, I do give Billy a speech impediment.
He has a little bit of a stutter or
a little bit of stutter or lag. But if you notice towards the end of the film, I kind of let that go a little bit, because we assume that Billy has been working on himself not only as a store associate, but also on his speech and his physical ability, giving him more general confidence. So I hope that came across in the film.
I find that fantastic that we shot it, of course, it's, all out of order. And for Cole to track that, because you see it in the film, you see as Billy, he matures as the film progresses, and towards the end, he's becoming a man towards the very end. It's subtle, it's very subtle, but you did that incredibly well. And, and can I just say that Cole won Best Actor at the Santa Monica Film Festival 3 weekends ago. So proud of that.
And it's a little glass block, and it was the Santa Monica Film Festival. So the engraving says Malibu Film Festival. All of the awards were wrong. They're like, here, sorry, we'll send you another one. So his very first Best Actor award has the wrong name.
So Oscar and so Billy.
I think we have time for one more question.
When did you decide to become an actor, and I just think that your parents were probably the most wonderful people. The way you turned out, it just, you know, I think you're terrific. The acting was fabulous. Everything, you know, the way you're talking now. I mean, you're fabulous. But at any rate, when did you decide to become?
So I'm gonna take this one. So actually, my dad was a huge influence on Cole. He was a writer for a lot of the old sitcoms like Bewitched and Sonny and Cher, and his writing partner was Steve Martin. Anyways, so he was like on him all the time. But the first time they took him to see Annie, he was like, and he was about 7 years old.
Whatever that, I didn't know what it was called at the time, but whatever it was, I wanted to do that.
Wanted to do that. So, and then also my dad really, as he did me, introduced him to Gilbert and Sullivan, and he was watching HMS Pinafore, and he watched it all the time. And the credits, the main title credits were rolling through, and the actor who played Rafe Rackstraw comes up, and Cole said, "Okay, and there's the captain." And I said, "No, honey, that's Rafe Rackstraw." And he goes, "Mom, don't you remember? He becomes the captain. It's topsy-turvy." And I knew then there was no getting out of it. He told me at age 7 that he wanted to be an actor, and that was it. And we've all been in the industry for a very long time, so when I realized that there was no getting out of it, I was like, could you have picked, I don't know, anything else that's not so hard? But it was like acting from day one. There was no...
But Cole picked it.
Yes, it's very important to note that that I picked this profession.
We didn't push it. We didn't push it. He in a series of situations showed that showed himself. One of the early situations was there was an organization that builds accessible playgrounds called Shane's Inspiration, and he was very young, and they were having a grand opening at one of their playgrounds, and so all the children were gathered around in this one little area, and they had some media there and people from the organization.
It's called Good Time.
And
It's
kids
called Good News Time.
Good news time, and kids can, I'm going to my grandparents tomorrow. Oh, next week is my birthday.
Yeah, what are you going to do, you know?
Right.
And they're asking him, and Cole grabs the mic, well, let me tell you, blah, 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 blah. So they're like, would you like to speak at some of our fundraisers? And
Yeah, he had just gotten his service dog, so he told all about getting a service dog, and everybody in the crowd crying. And so this one guy comes pushing through, and he goes, "Can he be our spokeskid?" I'm like, "Senor Ham, are you kidding me? Take him away." So, right? And so he did the video that ran on their site for close to 20 years, introducing it and everything, and it just kind of all went from.
Yes, I went to college for theater, and I've studied acting
Lots of summer camps.
most of my life.
All that stuff, yeah, as much as. Yeah.
Oh wait, for accessibility, we're gonna have the microphone come.
Well, you were mainstreamed in school or no?
No, I was put into special ed, but when I went to college, I had accommodations, but I was very much able to handle myself, and I had a very complicated major, acting, which of course, in which we had to study a lot of terms that were Greek, Italian, Spanish, French, German, Russian, and pretty much any other language you can think of. And we had to not sound like an idiot when we pronounced them in front of our professors. So
he was homeschooled from 6th grade on because I got
yes,
tired.
I was homeschooled from 6th grade on.
Fighting with the school district, yeah.
I just have one last question. What's next for the film, Anthony and Cole?
What's next? We're looking for. Well, we're on the. We have about 5 more film festivals to go, but we are looking for distribution. That's always the tough one. So, yeah, we just hope to get it out there and have the whole world see it. But that's next. But I don't know. But timeline wise, we're hoping to do a theatrical run this summer and then streaming after that. So yeah, we want to get it out there.
Amazing. Cole, Anthony, Mariah, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
This is an incredible film.
Thank you.